Whether it's the budget, health care, gun control, foreign intervention, or presidential appointments, there's one senator who has been at the center of it all. And you'll probably see even more of him in 2014. His name, Joe Manchin. He's a Democrat from increasingly red West Virginia. To know Joe, the former governor of West Virginia, I went there just days before the Ryan Murray budget deal was announced. And he told me what a deal of that type would and would not accomplish.
Is it something that I think is going to fix everything? No, it's going to be temporary. And all we're doing is kicking the can down a little bit further.
Ultimately, on Wednesday night, Manchin voted with 54 other Democrats and independents and 9 Republicans for the deal, calling it an example of what both parties can accomplish when they work together. Something rare for the 113th Congress, on pace to be the least productive ever.
You have guilt by association. In Washington, it's guilt by conversation. If they see you conversing with somebody who might have a difference of opinion or thought to be too conservative or too liberal and not knowing, and you're saying, well, my goodness, you've gone over to the dark side. I just don't believe that we can fix anything if we can't at least talk about it and work together. So I'm always reaching across the aisle.
More often than some in his party would like. Manchin was one of only 3 Democrats to vote with every Republican senator against changing filibuster rules. He voted against President Obama's pick for Fed chair and continues to call for a 1-year delay for the individual mandate.
Every time you pick up the paper or listen to the news, this has been delayed a little bit longer, this has been delayed, they're not going to find. If that's the case, just say this is a transitional year.
But Manchin's relationship with President Obama hasn't always been so complicated. In 2008, then-Governor Manchin affectionately referred to candidate Obama as Barack and called his election imperative. 4 years later, the Democratic senator did not endorse President Obama for re-election. You are at the front and center of so many of the important issues today, and you're really pushing to get things passed, whether it's the budget, whether it's health care, whether it's gun control. I would imagine that you would have a good relationship with the president. Are you guys close?
No. He's been always courteous when I've been there. Dennis McDonough, his chief of staff, has been overly kind in reaching out and talking and getting it. So we have that relationship and talking. A personal relationship with the president I do not have.
To understand the senator, you have to understand his state, which is why we traveled to the capital city of Charleston. Since the 1930s, West Virginia has been reliably blue. It was one of only 6 states that Jimmy Carter took in 1980, and one of just 10 won by Dukakis in '88. But in the past decade, that has begun to change.
I think they're just fed up with what's going on and the way the country's headed.
Republican presidential candidates have won West Virginia by increasing margins since 2000. Even in 2004 and 2008, when voters in the rest of the country were trending blue. In 2012, Mitt Romney's margin of victory was larger in West Virginia than in most southern states. What do you think about President Obama?
What do I think about him? Well, I'm not too happy with him.
What are the most important issues to you?
How people in Washington vote on the issues, the job situation.
These are hardworking people. They don't ask for a lot. They do like to have they would like to have a fair shake and an opportunity to make a living.
The coal industry that once dominated the state's economy and its politics now only employs about 32,000 in the state, fewer than half the number of jobs it provided in 1976. And while there are many reasons for the industry's decline, the government and President Obama's energy policy receive much of the blame. Manchin has also felt pushback for his stance on guns.
Manchin is working with President Obama and New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. Concerned? You should be.
After the Newtown shooting, Manchin and Republican Senator Pat Toomey introduced background check legislation that ultimately failed by just 5 votes, but cost Manchin double digits in his approval rating back home. This frustration we saw firsthand.
90% of the bill is absolutely phenomenal, but 10% of it is unacceptable. It's taking more from us. We have lost.
You got 90% back.
No, we have lost enough.
Are there any regrets?
If I regretted something that made that much sense, then I would be thinking about myself and my political self and my political posturing and my political position more than I would the job I was elected to do. It protects the safety of the public and our constitutional right to bear arms.
So you're not done fighting the battle?
It should be passed. It makes all the sense in the world.
While every voter I talked to voiced frustration with the government, West Virginians also rely on it. Nearly 27% of West Virginia's personal income comes from transfer payments like disability, unemployment, and welfare benefits. Almost 1 in 5 receives food stamps. Still, both sides of the aisle are predicting historic gains for Republicans in 2014. You think here in West Virginia, the legislature and the Congress will both go Republican?
I'm afraid. I'm afraid it will.
Senator Manchin doesn't face re-election until 2016, but you wouldn't know it from his schedule, which looks a lot like campaigning.
You all studied West Virginia history? I would probably involve the energy business in one way or another.
These are your future constituents right here. How often do you do this?
Oh, every time I come back in the state. If you're ever going to want to continue democracy as we know it, you've got to basically start very young and let people understand government is with them and government should be about them. They can't think that I'm untouchable or they don't know, like they can't approach me or ask me questions.
What is the difference between senator and governor, and which position did you like them?
Yeah, someone put you up to this, I think. I got to sit down and talk to you about this one. As governor, you're an executive. That means when they say the buck stops here, that means that you have to make the final decision. The Senate has given me so many opportunities to grow and learn and to try to help West Virginia. They're both great jobs, but governor would hold a little bit of an edge.
You still very much act as if you're governor, which I think is such a pleasant surprise to see from a senator.
I don't know. I act the same no matter what. I think I just act as I am who I am.
He is who he is, and I have to say, spending the day with him, you really get the sense that he enjoys interacting with the people of West Virginia, even if they don't agree with him, and he's going to vote for what he thinks is the right thing to do. I've been around a lot of politicians in my day, and I can tell you that is pretty rare. So is the presidential run in Manchin's future? I asked the senator about his plans for 2016, and you might be surprised with what he had to say. We've posted the video only at thecycle.ms.